Good evening, everybody, and welcome out to Michigan, where we have a great race for you here tonight. We've got the Truck Series right here on the cutoff line. This is the day that we determine who's in the playoffs and who is out. Who you got?
And I know there's going to be 15 guys that'll be in, and I know 6 of them right now. We know that, but there's still 9 spots left to fill in this thing, and you really got, I would say, a good 7 drivers that are still well within reason of making up the gap from behind the line. So this is going to be an absolute shootout on a track that I don't think we ever really know what we're going to get aside from pack racing and a lot of high intensity out there.
Yeah, it is going to be a blast here tonight. So, and we saw a lot of it last night with the Cup Series where, I mean, we had 3 wide, 4 wide racing, and this is one of those tracks, one of the very few tracks on the NASCAR circuit that has that kind of room that you can do that and still make it through.
Yeah, you ever see those GIFs where the cat kind of has the flashback kind of thing? I just had that thinking about 3 wide, 4 wide. I was the meat and the sandwich there quite often last night in that Cup race. But these trucks, they can pull it off. And they've got an ability that the Cup cars didn't have. And in clean air, these trucks can go full throttle all the way around here. You start getting into that draft, maybe that dirty air makes it a little bit tougher. But just the way that these trucks handle, it's just so much stronger on the downforce than those Cup cars. I think we're going to see a pretty wild race tonight.
Yeah, it's going to be a blast, but man, this is what it's all about. The point standing, you can see those 6 drivers that are locked into the playoffs. Trevor Williams, basically, if he shows up here tonight, he'll be locked in. I'm not too worried about him, but looking down there at the cut line, Jeffrey Vickery and Rob Yost Jr., whew, they are going to have to play defense.
Yeah, and really, if you look at it, the way that Lucas Lyons could get max points with a win and a clean race, leading the most laps, things like that, that still puts Vickery and Yost in a position where they're only safe if they win the race at that rate, because Lyons can still max points and jump ahead of either of them. You mentioned Trevor Williams, pretty much in a start in. If Lucas Lyons does max points, he'll just need a 37th. So I think really once you get down to Jose Castellanos back, that's where there's a little bit of a little kind of nerves there if you're one of those drivers in that bottom 5 that are currently above that cut line.
Yeah, Lucas is not the only one that's knocking on the door, though. Looking a little bit further down the list, Tyler Markle, Mike Lepicki, both only 7 points out. Raul Meza, a little bit tougher hill to climb along with Andrew Harris, but with a win, one of those 2 could likely get in as well. Then Bo Tiffany, he has the ability to win this race as well. So, I mean, I'm down at 21st place. I really think they do have a shot. Jacob Zala is going to need that Hail Mary miracle. Jason Crackey, I don't think it's going to happen for him here tonight. But yeah, it is going to be an insane race right there on that cut line.
Absolutely, and last night we saw 16th place coming in. Randy Nichols made his way up, and Scott Healy finished 2nd, and if he wins that race last night, only a second away, he's somebody that may have pointed his way into the picture as well, and he was 15 points back, and there were still a lot of drivers above that cut line finishing inside the top 10, so I'm not going to count out a Meza, Harris, or Tiffany, but I do agree with what you said. They are probably going to need to win this race or at least get a top 3 to have a shot at it.
Yeah, and I mean, you've got that going on, but you also have the team championship still locked in tight. Let's take a look at last week's matchups that we had there. So Threat Level Midnight takes down the Rat Pack. You got JBR losing barely to Phoenix Virtual Racing. That's just how tight it has been. JW Racing got lucky, went up against TJ's team, and still pulled out the victory. TJ's team kind of short-handed, so they lucked out on that. You'll see them at the top of the leaderboard here shortly. And Zuyos Racing takes out Tank Racing as well.
Yeah, and honestly, we were thinking it was going to be a separation type of week, but the top 4 teams in the standings were the 4 winners last week, and we're still not seeing a ton of separation. I think we're really starting to see, Tank and TJ's team kind of starting to fall a little bit farther behind, and where they're going to really need to make a huge push here. But I think those, the top 6 all still well within reason of not only making that 3-4 matchup, but maybe making that 1-2 matchup, because this thing not separated by a whole lot.
Yeah, this is the series that has more parity, I think, than any other series that we have. And TJ's Team Racing is going to need that miracle where they win out the rest of the way and then other things happen for them to get in. Tank Racing basically the same way. But besides that, everybody else has a shot to get into that top 4 and try to make some of that money.
Yeah, and you can look at how consistent the teams have been too. The top 5, almost the top 6, all still within 100 points of each other in the overall points too.
And taking a look at these matchups. These matchups are going to be epic. You got Threat Level Midnight versus PBR down there, so that will likely take over the second place position. Whoever wins that match. Zuyos does not have an easy match today against Rat Pack Racing. TJ's Team and Tank, they're kind of fighting for the bottom of the barrel there, but these top 3 matchups, they are going to be tight.
Yeah, I mean, I want to say it's the statement race this week between Threat Level Midnight and Phoenix, but I really think it's the statement race, one above that with JBR and JW Racing. You're looking at JW, a win there really kind of helps them out, where they're going to move possibly a full week ahead of 2, if not 3 teams, the way that it could shake out. JBR with a win, though, that puts them right back into the mix. They join that 7-win club there and really make a case that they're still alive in that 1 and 2 spot.
Well, what everybody is fighting for here, multiple things. First, the race payouts. So $30 for first place, $20 for second, third, fourth, and fifth all get $10 back, which is what they paid in to get in. But the season-long payout, that's the big money over there. First place, $500. Second place, $300. Third place, $180. You can't get that money if you're not in the playoffs.
Nope, and once you get to the playoffs, I mean, you're looking at the top 8 drivers at the end of it. Get a little bit of money at the very least, up to that $500. That's out of the field of 16. We'll know 15 of them after tonight, plus that playoff lucky dog next week. But you finish in the top half of that playoff, you're adding a little bit to that bank account.
Well, taking a look out there on the track, a couple of guys that need it really, really badly. Rob Yost Jr. right there on the cut line, taking the pole position, getting the bonus point for that. And then Andrew Harris, who is below the cut line, needs some help there, putting himself in good position to start off this race.
Man, all the times we talk about Rob Yost Jr. always wanting to start in the back, he's going to be starting up front here tonight. Row number 2 will be Dean Gagliano. He has been eliminated from contention for those playoff spots, but then you got Lucas Lyons, 16th in the point standings, 2 points back. Entering this race, he'll be starting in position number 4. Corey Stahl and Trevor Williams will make up row number 3. Trevor Williams, basically with how it's going, just needs to start this race.
Yeah, looking at that Lucas Lyons and Rob Yost Jr. Matchup, because Rob Yost is 2 points ahead of Lucas Lyons. They've been switching back and forth for that 15th position for about the past 3 weeks. And so this is going to be the determining factor here tonight on a nice 2-mile racetrack. But to go down the rest of the list, Sean Jensick, our points leader, there in 7th. Matthew Greathouse from Phoenix Virtual Racing in 8th. Nathan De La Rosa filling in tonight for Jonathan Byer Racing. He is going to start 9th. Bo Tiffany for JW Racing, another one of those that really needs a big race. He'll start in 10th. Connor Cunningham will start in 11th. And then Jose Castellanos for Phoenix Virtual Racing will begin in 12th.
And one I'm keeping an eye on, too, you mentioned the 1st and 4th spots. Look at row number 4. Sean Jensick there, the points leader coming in. Matt Greathouse only 18 points back. We still got 30 points separating 1st from 6th. That regular season title well within reason for a handful of guys out there tonight.
Yeah, it is going to be insane here tonight. And if the last night was any indication, these guys are going to leave it all out on the track. So let's get down there. Let's find out what's going on. But here we are on the back stretch, just taking a look at Rob Yost Jr. and Andrew Harris on that front row. But this is a big one here tonight, Brandon. Who you got?
Well, I'll tell you what, I'm not going to give anybody the chance that's in that playoff mix to say that I jinxed them with the broadcast curse tonight. So I'm going to go a little bit behind that. And starting in 28th position, the same position he started when he won in Season 1, I think this could be a turnaround race for Nathan Nixon back there. It's been a really rough season. He needs a good result. I think he can find that magic again here at Michigan. In the NWO truck, that is awesome. I'm going to go up a little bit further. He's basically already in the championship, in my opinion. Trevor Williams, winner of last season's race here. I think that he's going to make it 2 for 2.
But let's get the party started as we get that Silverback Tax Solutions green flag, and we start this race off with Rob Yost Jr. up front.
Yeah, and Rob Yost got those 2 bonus points for starting on the pole. He really wants to lead this first lap, pick up another bonus point there just to give him that little extra cushion, trying to hold off Lucas Lyons, who's got the run on the high side, trying to follow Andrew Harris through. Harris has cleared Yost. Lyons nearly about to do the same.
Yeah, you can see these trucks 2 by 2 by 2 all the way back, and like we said earlier, this is that track that you can do that and do that safely. Hopefully.
Yeah, it's always the idea that you're going to be able to do that, and man, we're seeing you saying 2 by 2. We're seeing 3 wide, nearly 4 wide at a few points back there, farther back in the pack. But it's going to be Andrew Harris that leads that first lap. He needs those bonus points as well, and he's going to get the first one in terms of actual racing since the green flag here.
Oh,
trouble!
That's Sean Jensick up into the wall.
Sean Jensick, I couldn't tell who he got into. It's a different, Dean Gagliano in the 45, actually.
But everybody's still going straight, so this thing is still under green flag conditions, so we're just going to keep, and now Sean Jensick, no, that was Sean Jensick that time. That was, who was that? The 99, that was Wally Babb.
Yeah, Wally Babb in the 99 gets it. Man, there's a whole lot of black and a whole lot of white trucks out there. Kind of messing with me a little bit here, just how similar some of these trucks look. But yeah, that's it's going to be the nature of this racing here, especially early on. These tires are still cold. They've got a lot of downforce in these trucks, but these cold tires, yes, they felt it in practice with that drafting and the dirty air, but it's a whole other animal out here once you get racing and you're out on those fresh tires. It's just real tough to get the handle on these things, and I think we saw a byproduct of that here the first 3 laps.
Taking a look at Trevor Williams here, already up 4 spots. I'm telling you, that win last season gave him that confidence that he needs to come in here and take this victory here tonight. And so he is going to inch up to the outside of Andrew Harris, get that outside line. Oh, not quite close enough to complete the pass. We'll see if maybe he can do this on this next turn.
And he's going to have that outside line, and really there's no wrong way around this racetrack, especially in 3 and 4. You can kind of see those 5 lanes that kind of draw out there from those seams. All of them are basically workable out there. 3 and 4, you can run that low line near the apron. You can't necessarily do that as well in 1 and 2, just a little difference on the sides of the racetrack. But it's you got so many options to work your way around here, and it's hard to say that outside line is always going to be the best one. Trying to get that momentum push, you will get that coming out of the turn. Nice little crossover move there, maybe just getting loose and kind of made it look like a crossover. But you got options around this racetrack, so it's real interesting in how you're going to defend your position, especially when you're out in front.
So just taking a look out there at the point side of things, so 39th place will get you 2 points. So that would mean that if Trevor Williams came in dead last, then someone else would have to get absolute max points to get up there and take him out. The only person that can do that is Rob Yost Jr., who has fallen back to 3rd place right now. So I really think that Trevor Williams is safely in the playoffs right now. All of his fans out there that watch every single week can cheer that on. But, man, that's got to be a good feeling for him.
Yeah, it was the way that I had it was basically if he starts and Lucas Lyons doesn't get max points, he didn't get the pole, and that's already going to knock out a couple points there. So it's going to take a near miracle for Trevor Williams and really Michael Larch and Ben Park as well. They're 40 points above that cut line. It's going to take a whole lot to happen for them to drop out. And also, you got to think that it also means a perfect storm for everybody behind them. Say if they do finish last in this race, it's going to take everybody else that's back there finishing up near the front of the field in a specific order once you get to that point. So that's something to keep in mind too when we start talking about clinching scenarios.
Oh, but it doesn't help the nerves at all. I know somebody very, very well that was 25 points above the cut line going into last night's race, and man, he was just a bag of nerves the entire time.
I wish it was 25. I was only 15 points. I mean, whoever this was only 15 points ahead. But I mean, it gets in your head a little bit. You start thinking like, man, I see these cars up there that I know they're behind me. They're running way up there. I don't know. I can't do the math in my head while I'm driving and all that stuff. So it does affect you a little bit. But I think if you're in that position that Trevor's in right now, you just know I just run my race and I'm going to be doing pretty well here.
So checking in on our points leader, Sean Jensen, fell all the way back to 25th place. That truck has got to be damaged off that earlier incident with Don Holiday, I believe it was, in that 45. No, I'm sorry, that's Dean Gagliano in the 45. So yeah, a little bit of damage there earlier. So he is suffering the effects of that. He can really use a caution to get that thing fixed up. But those other two that you were talking about, Ben Park, sitting back here in 28th right now. So he's got a lot of work to get done.
Yeah, and even if for their case, the nightmare scenario of Lucas Lyons maxing out on points, it would take a 33rd to clinch for Ben Park and for Michael Larch each from 40 points up. One thing that I did just notice, Danny Dow actually dropping out of the race, looks like manually disconnected. So that's going to be big in the point implications there too, because there goes 39th place. Now the least amount of points somebody can get if they drop out at this point is going to be 3 points. So just cut another point out of that equation.
Yeah, it looks like that he had an off track. He had an issue back here. In fact, let's really quickly take a look at that issue and see what happened. Oh yeah, with some contact with 33 and luckily that did not bring out a caution, thank goodness. But yeah, that will essentially destroy his car. So yeah, that will allow definitely 100% now. Trevor Williams is in, so no worries on that front.
Yeah, that would give him enough points now, no matter what, that Trevor Williams does clinch that spot, at the very least by a tie, compared to the ultimate scenario that we were talking about there. So Trevor Williams now, unofficially, I guess we could say, in the playoffs, and now we move that attention to Ben Park and Michael Larch trying to make their way in.
Yeah, going down the list, trying to find Michael Larch here. Here he is, up in 15th position. So he is working a little bit better than Ben Park is right now, but still really early in this race. A long time to go here, and if this turns into a long green flag stretch, then you really have some opportunities on pit road to either come up or fall behind.
Oh, you certainly do, and this is going to be a race that you're going to see 2 pit stops. It's about 3 laps short of being able to stretch this into a one-stopper each fuel cycle. So it's going to be a lot to ask somebody to save that much fuel around here. I'm not going to say it's impossible, but it's asking a whole lot for anybody to actually make this on one stop. So I think we're going to see 2 pit stops if they're both under green. Not the hardest pit road to make your way onto, but that pit exit, very narrow, very easy to get a penalty for an unsafe release.
Trevor Williams still leads this thing. Andrew Harris just behind him. Lucas Lyons in 3rd place. Rob Yost Jr. in 5th place. Now remember, they were separated by 2 points coming into this thing for that cut line. But also Rob Yost got those 2 points for having the pole position. And so Lucas needs another couple spots on Rob in order to pass him on the charts.
Yeah, and that's just going up against Rob there, but I'm looking at Jeffrey Vickery right now, and we're seeing this great start for Yost and Lyons in 3rd and 5th. Jeffrey Vickery only 6 points above that cut line entering this race. He's all the way back in 19th position, and that is not where he needs to be right now because he doesn't have a whole lot of protection in front of him because Jose Ruiz was another 11 points clear of him, though he's off to a slow start as well in 29th, so a couple of guys in danger. We talk about the guys that are pretty safe and the ones that are trying to move in, but the guys in danger right now are in that 7 with Jeffrey Vickery and the 88 with Jose Ruiz.
Well, your pick just a couple of spots ahead of Jeffrey Vickery. Nathan Nixon, he is up in 16th, started off in 28th, already moved up to 16th in that NWO truck. So only one other driver has moved up more positions, and that is Landon Cardulo back here in 21st. Started off in 34th, but ended right where who's currently in 21st. So a couple of winners from the Speed Racing Network are definitely on the move. Another one that's big on the move, Michael Madden in the 15 truck. He is up 11 positions from where he started. So all of these winners in Speed Racing Network history, they are coming to play here tonight.
Absolutely are. And this is kind of the racetrack that I think historically, especially in these trucks, the better drivers shine here. And when I say that, I mean kind of generally the better drivers around all the racetracks, because you kind of get a little bit of everything. It's kind of that intermediate feel. It's also got a little bit of a super speedway feel with the pack racing. It's just kind of an odd fit here, this 2-mile oval. I love the racing here, but it's just difficult to pass. It really brings out some talent in these guys. And I think traditionally, I mean, you look at the 3 winners we've had, Trevor Williams, Sean Jensick, and Nathan Nixon, all well-accomplished drivers in SRN, and they've all got a victory here in the past 3 seasons at Michigan.
Kyle Spees in the pits right now. Not sure what's going on there, but he's been in there for 55 seconds. So definitely took some damage. Yeah, but he's already solidly into the playoffs. He was looking for the points championship if he had a really good race here tonight. A win would have put him into the regular season championship, but it does not look like it's going to be in the cards for him here tonight.
No, he and Sean Jensen came in 3 points apart going for that regular season championship. And so either way, it was win for either of them, and they would clinch that regular season title. But for Spees, looks like that's not going to be a thing, as he's already 2 laps down. Keep in mind with that, too, Brad Herman only 7 points behind Sean Jensen. And we saw the rough start there for Jensick that's kind of backed him up here quite a ways. He's back in the 32nd position. Brad Herman currently running in 15th. So we might be seeing that 85 truck making a showing here trying to grab that regular season title.
Yeah, he's sitting back there all by himself in 15th place right now. But up front, Trevor Williams has been holding off Lucas Lyons and Andrew Harris, who have been swapping that second position back and forth. But Trevor, last few weeks have not been his friend. And so just lots of incidents out on the track. None of them were his fault. Just involved in a lot of stuff that wasn't his fault. But yeah. So up front, where you've got no trucks around you, that's where he needs to be in order to avoid all that this time.
Yeah, it's certainly going to be a helping boost to get that momentum going into the playoffs. You get a couple of rough weeks in there. It does kind of take a little bit of a confidence hit there for a lot of drivers, but I think this is the kind of run that Trevor's going to need, especially as we get ready to go to the playoffs. And starting that one at Texas next week, it's a track that fits him pretty well, and think he'll be one of the players there, one of the major players there by the time we get to that first race here.
Yeah, I think he's not going to be a spoiler, because I think he's one of the favorites anyway, but I think that he is definitely going to play that role of I'm going to be right there in the top 5 the entire way through the playoffs. So just kind of keep an eye on him. Somebody else that's really, really strong on the track is Blair Holliday back here in 11th place. So he has come up from 15th position, and he gets those runs where he just has really, really great runs week after week after week, but then he has some bad runs at the same time.
Yeah, he's kind of been one of those hot and cold drivers out there, and I know he's got a little bit of that aggressive at the start of a run, and sometimes that does kind of burn him a little bit, where he just kind of eats up the tires just a little bit too much. This is going to be a contract that really works for him, though. You can kind of be aggressive on those tires, not get punished as much in these trucks, and I think that's going to be a benefit there. I think part of it is he's just trying to figure out what that speed has been this season, and I think part of it is you go to the trucks, you go to the Cup, you start doing all these different races, and yeah, the seat time's great. Those cars handle differently, and I think part of it is kind of playing one side into the other a little bit, and maybe that's just kind of what's going on there, but he's also just had some bad luck here at some times too, but definitely going to be a threat, and when he is on, he is definitely on. So
we talked a little bit about Brad Herman, where he's locked in the playoffs. Kyle Spees locked in the playoffs, but a couple laps down already. Austin Purnell, another one that is locked into the playoffs. He's just sitting here in 27th. That's exactly where he started this race. I think he's just kind of, I'm not going to say phoning it in, but he's just kind of relaxed right now because he doesn't really have to fight for too much right now.
Yeah, at this point, it's really just going to be for the bonus points going into the playoffs that you do get for your regular season ranking. So that's something that maybe keep in mind a little bit, kind of slow it up here. Maybe he's just kind of seeing how this race plays out, too. Just because we did see how, there was a lot of 3 wide, 4 wide early on in that. Maybe thought something was going to break loose and just kind of fell back into this pack here. But that is one thing to keep in mind, though, those bonus points for the regular season positioning. So some of these guys that are kind of sitting back there and they're safe, it might not work out for them because they could be losing a couple points that could get them to that next round.
Ooh, see the 31 dive down. That is Greg Olenek diving down basically onto the apron, which is not illegal here. You can do that. It's just not really going to help anything.
It looked like, I think that was Lane Doyle and Ben Park possibly that made a little contact. If it wasn't Lane, it might have been, is that Jacob Zala there in the 36? Or the 35, excuse me. So I think that would be one of the, that would be one. 2 of those 3 made a little contact up high. One got a little squirrely, and I think that kind of shook up that line a bit.
Going back up front, Trevor Williams has opened up a 0.6 of a second lead, and we saw kind of something like this similar last night in the Cup Series, where Scott Healy just went way up front with way to the lead. Jacob Zoller going through the infield.
He's got some space behind him, it looks like, so no harm, no foul for anybody else in the field, but that's going to be a big hit for Jacob Zoller. He was running in the 20th position. And let's see what happened here. Coming off of turn 4, he's got Tyler Markle to the inside. And I think Zoller just thought he was clear and wasn't quite there. He had a couple of inches of truck left there from Tyler Markle and just kind of cleared himself and got turned down into the grass. But a nice recovery there. They're going to fall back about 10 spots, but keeps that thing green and keeps that truck away from some damage.
Yeah, what we were saying was Scott Healy went out to basically a 2-second lead over everyone, and nobody thought they were going to touch him. And then we got into the pit cycles, and just pit cycles made it so to where Ryan Johnson was able to catch him and pass him in order to make that win. So you just never know what's going to happen. But Trevor is trying to get every single 10th of a second he possibly can right now. As here we say that, and now he is coming into pit road. He's going to be the first one to pit.
And I tell you what, as the race leader, he's going to be the least likely to be able to save any fuel. And so I think he's thinking, you know what, there's 0 chance I'm going to make this to halfway. Greg Olenek going to follow him. Some one other, but kind of blinked out there. Wasn't sure who that was. But I think they're... Yeah. Oh, there we go. But I think what they're thinking is there's no way we're going to make this to halfway. Just come down and break this into thirds, and they're going to get ahead of the field. And there is a little bit of a fall-off here of about 1.5 seconds a lap right now. That's going to be a big advantage for Trevor Williams out in front. Get a clean pit road, clean exit. He might pull away about 2 seconds here by the end of this cycle.
And here they all come down the pit road. 3 wide into the pit into pit road. Now it'll get to 2 wide. Okay, that's a little less hairy.
Yeah, and this is what I was talking about, too, with Trevor Williams coming down in a clean pit road. I mean, you just see all this traffic. About half the field came down this time by. A lot of traffic to navigate, a lot of traffic at the entry that you're having to navigate with people making different entry points there. And that's just another advantage that Williams is going to get on this cycle.
Well, that will turn the lead over to Bo Tiffany, who desperately needs those bonus points. So he will get at least one. I believe he got one for that last lap before he brings it in. Oh, and the 10. Oh, no, and he's going to get caught. Blair Holloman caught on the wall. That's a little glitch on iRacing where he is just stuck there. And so he is going to have to tow the rest of his way into his pit. So that is going to put him way down in the pack. As all those are pitting, Trevor Williams will resume the lead once he gets around these pitted drivers, and he's got a 3-second lead on Andrew Harris right now. So that 0.4 of a second lead has turned into 3 seconds. Once we get through all this stuff, Connor Cunningham was trying to get down to the pits. He wrecks, and so
he's trying to come. It was coming out of the pits actually here.
Oh, okay. Wow, I didn't even show him hitting. So I don't think he's actually made it in for his pit stop. I'm not sure what happened there.
Actually, you know what? I did hear somebody on the radio say I couldn't find my pit box, so I'm thinking that's what happened there. He missed his pit box, was coming around, and just unable to find that spot, and maybe a little frustration trying to go a little bit faster than he wanted to on that apron, and just lost it. Real easy apron to mess up on, though, here.
Yeah, but first cycle of green flag pit stops is complete. Trevor Williams will hold a 2.6 seconds. Now that lead is falling. Even that one lap of newer tires for Andrew Harris is just inching closer and closer to Trevor Williams. I think it'll level off before he gets there, though.
It will, but the one thing that won't level off, and you can see Trevor trying to get a little bit of that draft there from, I believe that's Sean Kosher in front of him. Yeah, that's the 97. He's trying to get that draft. That's what's helping Andrew Harris and Lucas Lyons right now. They can get lined up, as well as Nathan De La Rosa back there in fourth. They're lined up and pulling each other a little bit closer. It is a strong draft around this racetrack. Not as strong as Atlanta last week in terms of the speed difference, but you're going to see about a 10-mile-an-hour difference or so going down the straightaways if you can get linked up well.
Now Williams will pass Sean Kosher, put him a lap down, but Sean just came out of the pit, so his tires are going to be a little bit newer, so he's going to get down to the inside and try to get his lap back the hard way, and probably wise, and I think Trevor just did that. He just lifted just enough for Sean Kosher to go ahead and get on past, and now Trevor's going to enjoy the benefit of that draft just for a little bit.
Yeah, he's going to get the benefit of the draft, but what he's not going to feel the benefit of is just having to race with Kosher for that little bit. You can see that time on the time delta there on the left really fell about a half second. Part of that just being stuck side by side, and that does kill the air a little bit. It makes you run a line you don't necessarily want to be running. It just slows you up there, and I think it's kind of a torn decision here. Do I want the draft or do I want to just stop racing Sean Kosher at this point? It's tough, and Kosher's doing everything he needs to be doing to try to stay on the lead lap. He's well within his right to be racing the leader at this point, trying to protect himself from falling a lap down.
No, definitely. I mean, as long as he does so cleanly, and I believe he is, but take a look at that delta over there on the right side of your screen, the bottom right, and you can see just little by little, 1.65, 1.64, 1.63, little by little, Andrew Harris is catching him.
And it's not going to take much. I think you get another 7/8 of a second here, and then you're going to see Harris and Lyons really start pulling because they're going to catch the draft from Trevor Williams as well, and it's going to pull them the rest of the way towards them. So I think maybe in a few more laps, if they can close that up a little bit. Oh, we got one around at 3, and never mind, caution out.
That's Brad Herman.
Oh, Brad Herman.
Doing some spinning there. While we're trying to figure out what happened to Brad Herman, a question out in the chat was what happened to Rob Yost Jr. He was in the pits for about 54 seconds. I'm going to guess that was a penalty.
That would make sense. I believe he was one of the trucks involved in that 3-wide entry, too. So that was probably going to be a penalty there. That sounds about right. You're saying about 50 seconds is about a 40-second hold there for a penalty on pit road, so that would line up.
So we will get back and we will figure out what happened in just one moment.
And I'll tell you what, with Herman now, we saw Spies already in trouble. We saw Jensic already in trouble. And now we see Herman in trouble. This points race for the regular season, man, this is shaping up to be real interesting.
This is the pit road entry.
You could see him brake a little bit late. He might have been a little hot coming in. I don't think it was egregious, but it might have been just enough. But you could see the nose of that truck kind of slam down after that cone.
Well, let's take a look and see what happened to Brad Herman here. The 38 just gets behind him with a nudge. That's Nathan Dixon.
That was Lane Doyle with that contact there at the end, and Doyle smoking, and that is a huge one because Lane Doyle was only 17 points clear of the cut line coming in. That one, it just looks like Nixon thought he was clear enough to tuck in behind and just barely caught a piece of Herman. And that's going to throw off Herman for the title chase, and it's going to throw off Doyle for possibly working his way into the playoffs.
Yeah, Lane Doyle in pit road has been there for a minute and a half now. That truck is pretty bad now.
Wow. And one thing I want to throw out, a name we haven't brought up tonight, is starting to look like a possible favorite for the regular season title right now. Running in 9th place is Matt Greathouse. And the 51 truck came in tonight 18 points behind Sean Jensick, who was the points leader. But Jensick running well off pace after those early struggles. Trying to find him right now. He's going to be in... Yeah, he's getting repairs. He worked back up to 15th, but he's going to fall back to the tail end of this lead lap, it looks like. Spees a couple laps down. Herman heavily damaged. This might lead to Matt Greathouse jumping up from 4th, trying to make a run for that regular season title.
So, I mean, all sorts of stuff going on with the standings, and really quickly, we'll jump back to the standings just so you can see them. But just taking a look at that cut line, Robbie Yost Jr. with, we're assuming to be a penalty, he is all the way down at 33rd place, while Lucas Lyons is up in 6th place now. So just that in itself, if things hold, Lucas Lyons would jump in. Going down a little bit further, if you take a look at Tyler Markle and Mike Lepicki, and I don't see Mike Lepicki out there, to be completely honest. I don't see him at all. So he will end his hunt there. But Tyler Markle is up in 25th place, which is 8 points ahead of Robbie Yost Jr. Right now, but without the bonus points. But yeah, so Tyler Markle now has a shot to jump up in there. So. You just never know what's going to happen here. Now look at the very top. It doesn't show the actual points there, but just like you were saying, Matthew Greathouse, 18 points out of the actual lead for that season-long championship. And, whew, man, it's going to be a fun one. Let's keep it up.
It's going to be fun. It's going to be wild. And one thing you pointed out, Rob Yost falling back there, he did not get the lucky dog. He was one spot behind the lucky dog, which went to Connor Cunningham. So Yost still a lap down. Couple of other playoff heavy guys. Kyle Spees still a lap down. Brad Herman going to be at least a lap down. Lane Doyle multiple laps down now. And you brought up those guys behind the list, but look at 3rd and 4th. Bo Tiffany and Andrew Harris, both within 15 points. Both have led a lap tonight, and both in the top 4.
Yeah, the other thing to take a look at, you got Sean Kozier leading this thing. He pitted on lap 27. Literally everyone else on the track pitted under that caution. And so he is going to jump out to that early lead, but he's got 6-lap older tires. Not sure how that's going to work out for him, especially with somebody as hungry as Trevor Williams.
It's going to be a big net gain, though, at the very least. We saw him fighting with Trevor Williams to stay on the lead lap without needing that lucky dog, and he got the big win there, jumping all the way from last on the lead lap up to the front of the field. It's not going to hold for very long. He's going to lose some ground because even 6 laps of wear on these tires at Michigan will play a factor here in how well you can grip. Maybe not the first lap, though, because those cold tires are going to be a little dancy on everybody, but he'll fall back, but it's going to be a big net win there, though, for that 97.
Yeah, Williams had to get out of the gas and he was headed towards the wall, so that is going to lose him that 2nd spot, lose that to Andrew Harris. But now he's going to tug up behind Sean Kozier. If Sean Kozier floats up, then I think Trevor Williams is going to try to take that inside. Whoa, there we go!
Oh!
So that was just 2 guys fighting for that 1st and 2nd position, Andrew Harris and Sean Kozier, and then Harris, I think, maybe got to the back of Kozier. And
yeah, that's what it looked like.
Came down into Trevor Williams. Luckily, Trevor is locked in the playoffs, but I hate that.
Man, that's a 3rd week in a row, just wrong place, wrong time for that 46 truck. Unbelievably bad luck there. But I really think that's what happened. I think Harris got behind Kozier and just kind of made contact at a bad point and shot that truck a little bit loose. We'll take another look at it. We saw it live, obviously. And just that contact with Kozier, and Kozier got loose. Harris, I think, reacted, and that got him shot down to the 46.
Yeah, it seemed like Harris, once he got that bump on Kozier, that Kozier started floating up to the top side, and I think Andrew was trying to jump down there to take the inside to get that spot, and it ended up that Trevor Williams was already there. Yeah, you see him just diving down, trying to get around Kosher, and just was not aware that Trevor Williams was even there.
Yeah, and thankfully for Trevor, that's going to be minimal damage. Obviously, he's going to fall back through the field here, and it's going to be a pretty easy EOL, I do believe, on Andrew Harris on this one for a cause caution. But, yeah, I mean, that's just unfortunate there for Williams. Just, man, he just keeps being in the wrong spot here lately. And thankfully, that truck still looks pretty clean. Might make a pit stop here and play a little bit of fuel mileage, maybe change those tires as well, see if he needs to kind of freshen those up a little bit. But man, just rough luck here.
Out in the chat a little bit earlier, Kelly Chamberlain said, hey, it's about time you actually choose Trevor. And I told him, hey, the reason we haven't done it is we don't want to jinx him. But, hey, now that he's in the playoffs, we can jinx him a little. Well, there you go. There's the jinx. That's why we don't choose Trevor Williams week after week. That's why.
Well, I didn't want to bring it up, but the last two cautions, our picks were involved in those. So, but yeah, I mean, hey, that's just kind of how it goes. I was the victim of the broadcast curse too a week ago, so that happens. But yeah, but hey, one thing we were talking about is if that was going to work for Sean Kosher, and I mean, he held on to that truck, maybe a little bit of a scrape against the wall on that right side, but aside from that, still out in front, and everybody else going to have a little bit more wear on those tires too.
That's it. I'm changing my pick to Mike Lipicki. He's not even on the track. I can't do any damage to him. He's going to win this race somehow, some way.
See, you knew my theory, and it kind of worked. Just find the guy that okay, the playoffs not quite there, and just not affect anybody.
Oh, wow. I can't believe that actually happened. But Sean Kosher still continues to lead this thing. Again, 6-lap older tires than everyone else. Now, those drivers that were involved in that wreck, they got into the pit road. They were able to get new tires, some damage fixed, all that stuff. So Trevor Williams is back out. So is Andrew Harris. They're in 31st and 32nd position, but they also have the newest tires on the track too. So that is going to bode very well for them. He's going to get a little bit more damage repaired. So he's going to get as much of that done as he possibly can. Luckily, this is a very long track.
Yeah, and I tell you what, looking at that truck, I think there's a little bit of damage on that right front where it's kind of flattened in a little bit. You can see that tire just kind of sticking out just a touch. So I think that's what's going on there, and I think I know what you're chuckling about too from the YouTube chat.
Are you seeing that out in the YouTube chat? You don't see that Lucas Lyon saying, "Don't even bring my name up."
and there you go. He does it anyway. But yeah, you can see it there. A little bit of damage to that right front. I think just wanting to check it out, make sure all that damage was repaired. Maybe a little bit, a couple seconds left there. Thinking that pace car was coming around and was going to trap him a lap down. Just wanted to get that touched up one last little bit. 5 tire sets for these guys in this race over 75 laps. So if he did take tires over that last pit stop, that ain't really going to affect him strategy-wise.
Yeah, we'll see what happens as we get back under green here very shortly. Sean Kosher is going to lead the way. Lucas Lyons is going to be on his outside. Bo Tiffany and Nathan De La Rosa will make up row number 2. So Bo Tiffany, one of those drivers that just needs a big race here tonight, and he is getting it.
Yeah, he is absolutely in a great position right now with where this is. And, man, we brought up Jeffrey Vickery kind of struggling a little bit early. He's up there in the top 5 as well, trying to protect one of those playoff spots.
And we're going to get another Silverback Tax Solutions green flag. If you need the green for tax season, call Silverback Tax Solutions. But Sean Kosher is going to get a good jump just like he did last time around. But Lucas Lyons on those newer tires is going to get down to the inside early. And I think he's going to be able to complete this pass probably on this backstretch.
Tough to do on 1 and 2 on that inside line. Just real bumpy, a little bit lower banking as well. Can make that truck real uncomfortable. And you can see him kind of getting freight trained a little bit. Everybody was running up towards that high line, able to use the draft. And Lucas just kind of getting hung out to dry a little bit. Still trying to hang tough with Nathan De La Rosa, though, on the outside.
Kosher holding his own, even on those older tires. Very impressed, actually. So, great job by him continuing to lead these laps.
And that caution came out at a great time for him, too, where he can kind of negate some of the wear. Now, the tires here, they really start to take a hit around 10 or 12 laps. We're getting about to that point. So if there's going to be any danger, it's going to start pretty soon here. But that caution, it's going to minimize some of the damage that he's got there from the tire differential for sure.
Nathan De La Rosa was looking for a way around Kosher, could not get around him, and then Lucas Lyons capitalized on that, went down to the inside, took the spot away from De La Rosa, and now he is looking to the inside of Kosher.
And Lucas really trying to get that lap led to get an extra bonus point, trying to close in that gap, getting above that playoff cut line. He's still trying to make that inside line work. That's the unconventional line around here in 1 and 2, and you can see it gets a little bit loose there. Michael Larch going to shoot the gap and try to thread that needle 3 wide and make it work. He's going to move up into the 2nd position.
And Larch diving down to the inside, trying to make that inside work again. I mean, Kosher's doing a great job just holding that outside line so nobody can pass him on the inside.
Yeah, he's getting some help, too, with everybody kind of running that high line just enough to give him a push. Lucas Lyons, big dive down to the inside to make it 3 wide.
3 wide, and he is not going to be able to hold that. So he is going to back it down, and he's going to lose a couple more spots.
I mean, he's got to take some of those home run cuts, just trying to get up in front, but he's also got to kind of see where a lot of these guys are that are above that playoff cut line. He's in a decent spot right now. He's got Rob Yost sitting back in 33rd position. That's the big one right there. Lane Doyle with a lot of damage. And speaking of damage, contact between the 2 leaders.
And now we've got a lap car. That's Kyle Spees just trying to get out of the way. And so he'll go to the extreme outside to just get out of the way of this whole thing. Very respectful by him. Good job by him to get out of the way. But that is going to turn the lead over to Michael Larch. If he can float it up, he is not completely clear yet. Kosher's going to have that advantage and that push from De La Rosa.
And he's got a teammate in the top 6, but he's about a half second back, and that's Bo Tiffany. So don't expect much help on that inside line just yet. I don't think there's a lot of guys really wanting to venture. They've seen how it worked for Lucas Lyons. He fell all the way out of the top 10 trying to dive on that inside line.
You know, we don't really consider this a super speedway, but look at the pack racing we got going on.
Oh, it has absolutely got that feel. These 1.5 mile and 2 mile tracks where these trucks can run full throttle just about all the way around here. That's the only way that you can get by is by utilizing that draft. And now, big move here, trying to get to the outside. Michael Larch going into turn 1, gets that momentum push, and he gets the line behind him coming out of turn 2. Kind of separated a little bit from Nathan De La Rosa, just enough to keep Kosher in the running. See where De La Rosa goes this time. That might determine the lap leader.
Yep, looks like it's going to be Michael Larch this time as he leads the lap. And De La Rosa is going to continue to push him. Behind him, he's got Michael Madden pushing on that outside.
Oh, trouble on the front straightaway in the back of the pack.
But he will save it and get back on there. So, and Dean Gagliano now. Dean Gagliano brings out a caution.
And I tell you what, with Tyler Markle, just another driver around that playoff cut line with difficulties tonight. 7 points behind and 17th entering the race. And chalk up another one around that cut line that are in a little bit of trouble here tonight.
So let's see what happened to Dean Gagliano and Tyler Markle. I believe it was between them. I believe that's where the damage occurred.
Yeah, it looks like they're about to peak 4 wide. And wow, right in the hood of that truck there was Dean Gagliano. It just looked like 4 wide, and you can do it, but everybody's got to be very mindful trying to make it work. And it just looks like they kind of met in the middle there, just a touch.
Oh, not quite enough for him. So Dean definitely getting the worst of that.
Yeah, he got the worst of it, and that was a heck of a job from Tyler Markle keeping that thing off the inside wall, though I did just see Tyler disconnected, so I think there's a little bit more damage than we thought. He did have a truck that was riding on the hood of his truck, so kind of would make sense that there might be a little bit more damage than we thought at first. But Dean Gagliano, great start to the night with his starting position, but ever since then, just a rough go of it there in that 45.
But he will still stay out on the track. Now we got pit stops for basically everybody.
And they can make it the rest of the way from here. So if this thing stays green, this will be the final planned pit stop of the night for everybody out here.
Question is, do they want to with those tires just shredding after about lap 15 to 20? Do they really want to stay out there for the entire time?
I mean, if a caution comes out, they'll all come down. But if this thing stays green, I ain't giving up that track position one bit, falling a lap behind there. So I think this is going to be it here, unless we get that caution in these last 25 or so laps, seeing who's going to win the race off. And it looks like it's going to be Michael Larch in that 48 going to hold serve and stay out in front.
Out there in the YouTube chat, man, I love our YouTube watchers. They're hilarious. Bobby Anderson saying, you guys got to stop talking about everyone near the cut line. And then Kelly Chamberlain, hey, can you pick some new people to talk about? Because, we can actually make this a race.
It's going to be very boring from us in the booth if we stop talking about people around the cut line, because it feels like everybody is around the cut line right now with how wild this race has been.
So Michael Larch will lead this thing. Nathan De La Rosa will take his spot in second. Sean Kozier, again, that massive move to stay out there to gain that track position, it works out famously for him. He is up in third place. His teammate Michael Madden will be in fourth.
Yeah, that is a huge hit there for Sean Kozier. And I still keep looking at that 51 truck of Matt Greathouse. He's sitting in a tremendous position when it comes to possibly walking away with that regular season championship. Another truck that caught my eye, by the way, going to get back on the lead lap, but doing it by a wave around. That's going to be Rob Yost Jr. in that 83. Good news, get back on the lead lap. Bad news, those are some really old tires against everybody else at this point.
Yeah, he last pitted on lap 37, and so 11 laps older tires than everyone else. It's going to be a really difficult thing for him. Now, another caution comes out, and that just puts him right back in this game. And in fact, if another caution does come out relatively quickly and nobody else pits, then he could come in and get the freshest tires on the track and really have an advantage.
Absolutely. Yeah, he's making the absolute right call right now. You wait, you get that wave around, you get back on the lead lap. If it doesn't play out that it works for you, okay, but you still made the right call at the end of the day. You're giving yourself a chance. If you're not on the lead lap, you don't have that opportunity, you got to get back out on that lead lap.
So right back in contention. He's got some work to do, but we know that he can do it because he was the one that took the pole. So he knows he's got speed. He's just got to use that speed while there's other cars on the track.
Yeah, absolutely, and he's going to rejoin back in 31st position. Just kind of touching on a couple of the trucks that also had some issues there earlier. Trevor Williams, he's going to be back in the 30th position on this restart. Andrew Harris going to be up in 21st, still with some damage on that 87 truck. So some of these guys that picked up some damage, they're trying to make their way through, but hasn't been a whole lot of time to do it just yet.
Well, we're going to get another Silverback Tax Solutions green flag after our third caution of the race. Michael Larch will take that restart and he will take off. Michael Madden, good jump on the outside. He will follow Michael. So a couple of Michaels up front, and then De La Rosa will tuck into third.
That was a tremendous jump on that outside line, and Michael Madden going to be a big beneficiary of it, being able to jump from fourth up to second there. He's going to try to lead the inside line. Little surprise, there's going to be some takers down low after what we saw in the last longer run.
And Madden throws it in there. If he can slide up, he's going to get it, and he can, and he does.
Man, that is a power move right there in 3 and 4. Contact! That's Cardulo and Kozier. And meantime, Michael Larch going to make the move back down to the inside. He's going to give right back to Michael Madden what he got in 3 and 4.
Did we say the inside line wasn't the preferred line here?
Man, well, I tell you what they were doing, though. They were taking that inside, but they weren't taking the bottom lane on those turns. They were riding that first seam up there, so they were taking the second lane, a little bit more banking, a little bit smoother, and they were just forcing that truck on the outside to hold up a little bit higher.
And again, that same move right back to Michael Larch by Michael Madden. So Michael Madden will retake the lead coming out of 4.
And these guys are figuring out this racetrack and what it's going to take, and they know that track position, especially that clean air out in front, makes it hard to pass at this racetrack sometimes. So they're having to go for it early on in this run and then just trying to hang on to those tires once they kind of wear out a little bit near the end of this 25-lap run to the end here. If we stay green, that's going to be a challenge at this pace. Never mind. Big wreck in the back straightaway, one upside down.
Andrew Harris involved with that. And Rob Yost Jr. gets a piece of Andrew Harris. That is not going to help him at all. Looks like Troy Techmeyer was involved in that as well. Let's go to another rec replay and find out exactly what happened.
I also saw John Holliday, saw Nathan Nixon. I'm not quite sure who it was upside down, but at one point I saw tires pointing up to the sky on my blimp cam on the second screen. But here we go. It's going to be around mid-pack and just looks like 3 wide and just kind of ran out of space. Yeah, just it looked like Holiday. I'm not sure if that was Holiday. It was Harris. Yeah, we're riding on board with Holiday. And Andrew Harris is the one that got upside down. It looked like I think the 55 and the 87 started drifting up, and I believe that was Troy Techmeyer on the outside.
Yeah,
that just kind of was still there.
Huskers truck.
Yeah, just kind of ran out of space. Everybody trying to slide up, and the room was gone.
And then Yost with nowhere to go. Not sure he got a ton of damage out of that, but still some.
Yeah, and I think any nose damage here especially is going to be pretty limiting to any possibility. Now, what he can do, just get that truck fixed, stay out there, and maybe this isn't the last caution. He can pick up some spots that way as we see the wreck develop here. And, man, a lot of close calls. Austin Purnell in the 36 with a real close call. Travis Burton barely squeezing through as well, but I think Purnell is still sitting 5th in points. He's still kind of got a shot at the title with the way that this race has played out, and he missed it by inches.
I mean, unbelievable what we've seen so far, and we've still got 21 laps to go, guys. We're not even close to done with this thing, and especially as these laps start to tick down, and Kyle Speeds just gets a lap back, so that's going to put him back on the lead lap as the lucky dog. But especially as these laps are starting to tick off, and people on the cut line are starting to get a little bit more nervous, I think it's going to get a little bit crazier.
Tell you what, if you want crazy, I don't know what the 0X's are, so I don't know if this one driver has one. But based on positioning, right now the regular season championship would be a tie between Matt Greathouse, who started in 4th, and Sean Jensick, who came in as the championship leader.
Unbelievable. That's why we race all 13 races.
Yeah, and this 13th race, not droppable, and that's so we know things like that. We can kind of determine this stuff a little bit quickly, and the drivers know what they've got to do. And, man, this cut line battle was going to be crazy. I think everybody knew that, but I think it was kind of a sleeper on how that regular season championship is going to play out. And not only is it the regular season title, you win that regular season championship, that's 25 playoff points that'll go to you in that first round.
Yeah, those that do better during the regular season will get more bonus points going into the playoffs that they can use to basically get a head start. So any of those bonus points that you've acquired throughout the season for lead laps, for leading the most laps, for pole positions, for wins, that sort of thing, get added onto a 2,000 point total, and then you also get points for where you finish in the regular season from 1st through 15th place. And so, I mean, you are the season winner. If you're the season champion, you not only get those 25 points, but you also get all the points you've acquired throughout the season. You could go into the playoffs with like a 40-point lead over the cut line, which is, a whole race.
Yeah, I think we're going to be seeing that in the Cup side already, and I think there's a couple of guys that are going to be about a whole race clear of that cut line. But it's just that extra boost, and it's something to run for, and I think that's why we were still seeing so many guys just being real aggressive out there, even though they were locked in and putting their trucks in some positions that maybe they wouldn't have if they were just going to kind of sit back. So still a lot to race for these guys tonight, even if they're clinched already.
And keep in mind, next week we've got the playoff Lucky Dog race. So not only is it the first week of the playoffs, but all those drivers that did not make the playoffs, whoever comes in, whoever finishes first out of all of those trucks that did not make the playoffs will be entered into the playoffs. And so playoff Lucky Dog is huge.
Yeah, and I think there's going to be about 20 eligible drivers just about for that thing, so that's going to be a wild card. But we still got 20 laps to go before we get there, and speaking of wild cards, I think that's what we're going to be seeing here the rest of the way.
Yeah, Michael Madden will bring us to the green flag, and he will take that early lead. Landon Carpullo down on the inside of Michael Larch. Going to try to make that work and try to pull up that second spot.
Real aggressive line there, taking that far bottom line. We're talking, it's kind of rough to run that, and you can see the momentum kind of go away there as Larch going to pull out in front of Cardulo. Looks like De La Rosa going to be inching forward as well. Now Greathouse to the outside. That bottom line in 1 and 2 just really kills the momentum on exit.
Michael Larch makes that little bit of a slide job, gets up into the lead right in front of Michael Madden. Michael Madden will push for a little bit, and Michael Larch will defend the inside.
That's a little curious. I would be thinking defend the high line a little bit more on that one, but he's got a feel of where he wants to put that 48 truck, and it's obviously been working. Madden now going to try to take a peek down to the far inside line, and caution mid-pack, big wreck out of 2.
Oh, Jeffrey Vickery involved. Oh, man, lots of people involved there. Everybody diving down to the inside just to get out of the way.
And Vickery going to take a huge hit on that after he was nearly making a huge recovery drive, finally got back up into the top 10. And man alive, that's just not what he needs. And man, even more playoff contenders taking some serious hits here late.
I don't think that Vickery was the one that started this thing, though.
No. Didn't feel like it.
He started in front of him.
Castellanos. Another playoff contender getting caught up in
the
this.
35 of Zala.
Oh, big hit there to the 7.
Yeah, it just looks like Zala kind of gets in the back of him.
Yeah, you can see Castellanos had a run. He had the space down to the inside, but Zala was still kind of pulling forward there and just got into him just a little bit, and it doesn't take much to turn a truck around. And yeah, I mean that's just a bad point to make some contact there, and for Jeffrey Vickery, that's a huge hit. Raul Meza, another one of the drivers, that's only 14 points away. You see him up in the wall. Looked like Rob Yost got through all that somehow.
Yeah, a bunch of those trucks just dove down to the inside apron just to get away from all of that, just trying to save their race. But yeah, incident there involving Zala and Jose Castellanos. So we'll see how the admins call that. Looks like Zala's going down into the pits right now. Jose Castellanos already there. But Michael Larch and Michael Madden still leading this thing. So basically your top 5 still the same. Lucas Lyons sitting there in 7th, so he's still taking a look at sneaking his way into the playoffs. Rob Yost Jr. has improved up to 18th position now. So remember, he was a lap down back in like 37th place. And now he is on the lead lap and up at 18th. So he doesn't want to give up that 15th spot too easily.
That's exactly what we were just talking about on that last caution, where he got a little bit of nose damage in that wreck in the follow-through, but it was just stay out there, and maybe you'll be able to pick up some spots with the big wreck, and that's exactly how that played out there for Yost. And one name you mentioned a second ago, Lucas Lyons jumping all the way back up into the 7th position after falling back to the mid-pack there for a while. That's a big run for Lucas as the first driver out coming into this race by 2 points. That's a big resurgence there.
Just looking at some of the other names that are still in the pits. Jacob Zala still in the pits. Jeffrey Vickery still in the pits. Doc Holliday's been in the pits since the last incident. Nathan Nixon has been in the pits since the last incident as well. Andrew Harris, he's in the pits, and he's been in there for ever since that last incident also. So tons and tons of trucks that are just stuck in pit road, just trying to get something repaired. But it looks like we've got about 20. It looks like Sean Kozier and Jose Castellanos and Jacob Zala will make it out of the pits on this lead lap. So it looks like 27 trucks will stay on the lead lap here.
Yeah, that's what I'm showing too as well. And just to kind of go back and update that regular season title, that wreck a huge help for Sean Jensick, who moved his way up from 24th now up to the 16th position. And that's going to be a lot of points he needs to try to hang on to that regular season title and those 25 bonus points.
Yeah, he doesn't have to worry too much about anybody except for Matthew Greathouse at this point. So, I mean, we still got 15 laps to go, guys. So, I mean,
yeah,
still plenty of time.
Yeah, and if I hate to say it, but if you think that was the last caution, I kind of want your optimism. I want that. Mistaken. Just so much intensity right now, and I think how many guys have been in trouble in this race. It's got people thinking I have a chance in this, even if I didn't think I did. And man, if I thought I was out of it early on, now I'm right back in it. There's a lot of guys out there that are going to be feeling like I got to make a move right now. So this intensity really going to ramp up, and this thing might get pretty wild here.
Oh, and I apologize. I left out Kyle Spees. Kyle Spees only 3 points behind Sean Jensick, only 5 spots behind him right now, so he still has a shot at that regular season title too. So yeah, it's still a three-way battle there.
Yeah, I kind of forgot about Spees. He was a couple laps down at one point and worked his way back up. Heck of a determination race here for Kyle.
That's what champions do, Brandon. That's what champions do. Silverback Tax Solutions, green flag. And Michael Harch will lead them to the line. He's got Michael Madden all over his bumper. Now, usually Michael Madden would drop down and take that spot away from him, but he's already on the bottom line. So he's just kind of going to tuck in for now, and now Madden's going to try to dive to the inside, try to take that inside position, and possibly dive it in this corner.
I'll tell you who was the most grateful for Madden doing that, and that was Greathouse. He was all by himself on that inside line until Madden chose to dive down there. That gave him a little pull to keep him up there, and look at that run from the 51. He's going to jump from 5th to side-by-side for the lead out of 3 and 4.
Unbelievable move. I'm not sure he's going to be able to make it stick in 1 and 2. We'll see if he can. This is the struggle on the inside is 1 and 2 coming off that exit, but yeah, I don't think he's going to be able to hold that there.
And Michael Madden doing all he can to protect that and kind of pinch him down a little bit, cut that momentum. And yeah, Greathouse going to fall back in line, probably behind Landon Cardullo in 4th, but still a net gain there for Greathouse, picking up a couple spots in that process. But they're going to get single file here throughout about the top 10. And that's gonna be a big help here for the front of the field.
He threw it in there for sure, but just did not work out for him. Now Michael Madden will try to take that inside line once again. These two have just been trading jabs back and forth. I'm really excited to see in the post-race chat that we all have how these two kind of go back and forth about, hey man, great race. That was fun, just going back and forth, back and forth.
And it's so much fun once you get side by side with somebody here. I even had that. Oh, caution.
Sean Jensick involved.
Oh, wow. That's huge.
Not sure how much he's involved, but that truck does not look good.
No, that right front sitting pretty low. The left front looking pretty bumped up there. That looks like some suspension damage there on that left front.
Let's go back and get another wreck replay, find out what happened. It looks like he was 3 wide, and got to tell you, there's some big players back here when it's 3 wide. It's Jensick on the outside, Raul Meza in the middle. You got Kyle Spees on the inside, and Raul Meza and Jensick just get together. Oh, big hit.
Ooh. Well, that'll answer the suspension damage, that's for sure. Man, that was kind of tough to tell from that view that we had there for a moment, just to see where that might have gone wrong. I'm looking at the 37. kind of on that line. I don't think he really left that line, and I don't think Jensic really came down all that much. I think it was just close racing that went wrong. It's just a tough break, though, going 3 wide, nearly looking like they were going to go 4 wide there for a bit. Little bit of a bump up and a little bit of a slide down. That's just racing.
That's a tough call for the admins for sure.
Yeah, that's one of those. I'm not jealous of that job.
Well, I have that job on Tuesdays and Thursdays. It's not fun, I can assure you.
There's a reason why whenever I've been asked about it, it's always, no, I'm good. I'm in the broadcast booth. I like this one a whole lot more.
Yeah, it is a difficult call sometimes. And, I mean, keep in mind, they can call it a racing incident, which just means, hey, I mean, it's just they were both going after the same spot at the same time. No one truck is actually at fault there. They could call it on both trucks. We have not had one of those yet in Speed Racing Network where we've called it on both trucks, but they can make this call a few different ways. But either way, Sean Jensic severely damaged and in pit road, and that might take away his season championship.
It very well could, especially with Speeds rebounding the way that he has. Kyle now running in the 13th position. Matt Greathouse running in the 4th position. And the way that it would go right now, Kyle Speeds would be walking out with that regular season championship, and Greathouse will be moving up into the 2nd position coming out of the regular season. That's just going off some table math here. So there's going to be some bonus points that come in, of course. Don't have all that in front of me, but that's just the way it's looking right now. But this thing's still far from over.
And don't look now. Rob Yost Jr. in 12th place. And so he has moved his way all the way back up in 12th. Now, the guy that he's really up against head-to-head is Lucas Lyons, up 5 positions ahead of him. I'm not sure if Lucas has led a lap yet or not, but with Rob Yost 2 bonus points for starting this race on the pole, right now, if it were to end as it sits, Lucas Lyons would be ahead of him by 1 point.
Oh my, and of course there's going to be some other guys that come in play here, and I think the one that's really hurting in this race is going to be Jeffrey Vickery, 28th place right now, 5 laps down. If he gains another lap, he might move up another spot, but he's going to need a whole lot more help there.
Yeah, it's that's going to be rough for him for sure, because he was 6 points ahead of the cut, and right now he would be the odd man out. So
yeah,
rough race for him.
One thing, too, looking at my notes, and right as I was looking at them, see in the YouTube chat, Lucas Lyons has led a lap. So got a little confirmation there from the YouTube chat from my notes there. But, yeah, he has led at one point. I believe it was during that pit cycle.
I still have not figured out how these guys type and drive at the same time. I don't get it.
I don't get it either. I would like to think that they've got somebody that's saying something for them, or because I know people have said, like, hey, you should stream. You do the broadcasting while you race. You should stream. And I'm like, that would be the most boring stream ever, because I'm just focusing on racing. I don't know how they're multitasking like that.
I mean, maybe we need to make that a rule in Speed Racing Network. Everybody has to type in the chat while they're driving.
Okay, well, there's 9 cautions added every race.
At least 9 cautions.
Oh, man. Well, a little levity before we get to this final sprint here. That's for sure, but this is going to get real interesting. We got to ask in the YouTube chat who's on the cut line. I think everybody right now.
Pretty much.
It is absolutely. All the people above are having rough nights. All the people below are having good nights. This thing's a toss-up here as we get ready for 8 to go.
Based on absolute just rough math, either Lane Doyle or Rob Yost, I think, are going to be the cut line. I don't know which one. Oh man, just no clue.
Tight moment there as Michael Madden made the late move down to the inside. I think he brushed up against that tailgate a bit of the 48 of Michael Larch before making that move, but he's got no help down on the inside. Oh, now he does. Oh, now he's got an enemy down on the inside.
3 wide for the lead. Landon Cardulo really going hard through turns 3 and 4. Now, those are the turns that you can make it stick.
you can, and you can drift it up a little bit more, 2 out of 4. And you know what? We talk about all these wild card factors in there. Oh, wow, what a save by Madden as he got the bump there from the 48. And I was just about to say the wild card and all this. Landon Cardulo out of the playoff picture right now. This is all momentum for next week, trying to get that lucky dog win.
Yeah, and he's one of those people that you would have to consider the favorite for that playoff lucky dog. Got a little bit of hard respect.
They went 6 wide down the backstretch.
Well, they're definitely not moving back. Okay, 7 laps to go.
Oh my goodness, I never thought we'd see that in Michigan. We see 5 wide sometimes at Auto Club. Michigan backstretch 6 wide. They were using 2 lanes below the apron to make that work at one point. Unbelievable that we're still green.
I'm just amazed that we're still green. That is unreal. But Michael Larch comes out ahead, and he will maintain that lead. Michael Madden is trying desperately to track him down. Landon Cardulo just trying to get some points and trying to get some momentum going into next week. Matthew Greathouse working for a possible championship. I mean, just everything going absolutely crazy right now. Kyle Speed's back in 11th, also working on that possible championship. So, and then Lucas Lyons in 9th, working on the cut line. Rob Yosin 16th, working on the cut line. What is going to happen in the next 5 laps?
We got Kyle Spees up in 11th as well. Big wreck!
Oh, I hear it too. That's Spees.
Kyle Spees! I was just about to say he worked his way back up into the 11th position, and he's going to tow out heavy engine damage on the 25.
Oh, man.
And oh, my goodness. We might be seeing a shocker at the end of the regular season. From 4th place, Matt Greathouse now going to assume the points lead.
Unbelievable. And that's just how tight this season has been for the Truck Series. There's no one driver that is just far and away better than the rest. And so we'll go back and we'll see if we can find out what happened with Kyle Spees. But I have a feeling it's not going to be fun to watch.
See him there. Wow, we got 3 wide, 1 up against the wall there in front of them.
The 55 and the 54.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Hard hit.
The 55 of note, that looked like some netcode. That it was kind of a weird way that he spun. Take a look at that.
It was a little netcode after. There was definite contact. He was definitely going to be going around, and then it just kind of pitched him heavily up the track.
So the 55 of Jeff No, the 54 of Jason Kradke, the 2 involved. Let's take a look at the view from behind here.
And man, just nowhere for Kyle to go at that point. I mean, you can kind of look at it in the replay and say, like, man, he could have tried to slide up, but in that moment, there's nowhere that he could have gone.
I mean, great job by Kyle holding that brake so those other trucks can get around.
Yeah, and unfortunately, Kyle disconnected. He's out for the rest of this race. And for Jeff No, I mean, man, we were talking about guys that have had bad luck all season. He's one of them, and he finally had a clean race going there inside the top 10, finally got away from the trouble, and then near the end of this thing, just, man, that little contact, and it might wind up determining a regular season champion here. And if you're Matt Greathouse, you got an overtime shootout to survive here at this point to try to lock that down.
And out in YouTube chat, they are all over us for talking about various drivers. We thought we'd learned our lesson. So, okay.
I feel like I'm inadvertently getting my payback on everybody for the last 3 seasons of being in the wrong place at the wrong time. And I really don't mean it, but man, I think aside from the top 4 tonight, everybody's had a moment of just something bad happening here in this race.
All right, just for fun, Brandon, you and I were going to be completely silent for a lap once we go back green, just to see that it's not us.
Oh, man. Well, yeah, that might be our best bet here to get out of here alive.
Well, looking back in the race again, Sean Jensick up in 18th now, so only 14 spots behind Greathouse. So
that would be enough.
It's not the championship for Greathouse anymore.
I don't know how. That truck's got the weirdest camber going right now in that left front. I don't know how he's getting that thing around here, but guess at this point, just keep going as far as you can and just pick up the spots where you can, and it's working right now for that 29.
Brandon, it's moving forward. It's moving forward.
It is moving forward.
It's moving forward. Unbelievable. So we will have one more lap under caution here, and then green, white, checkered for the race, for the playoffs, and for the championship.
No pressure, everybody.
Yeah. One guy we haven't talked about at all, and hey, let's throw it out there. Why not? Greg Olenek back here in 16th position, so survived the wreck earlier in the race. Sorry, buddy. Your turn.
Yeah, he was saying he was going to be cursed tonight running Michigan colors, so he is. And I got to point out, I like the roof on that thing, kind of throwing the homage to the Michigan helmet a little bit there. I like that little design touch there, but yeah, a little bit of a rough run there. You can see how beat up that 31 truck is, as is much of the field. But yeah, if we're going to talk about people that aren't going to be affected by much, let's just talk about the people that are already eliminated from the playoff contention until the Lucky Dog race.
Yeah, Greg Olenek, a big West Virginia fan, but running a Michigan type of scheme. So
he would like you to believe it's close enough to West Virginia.
Yeah, I think he had this coming. I think yeah, he's going to be back for that a little bit later. All right, so Michael Larch is going to get this restart. Pace car dives off. Let's see if maybe we can make this one the very last Silverback Tax Solutions green flag of this race, as Michael Larch gets us started, and everyone else is going to do everything they can to get every point possible.
Looks like a little wheel spin there for the 15 of Michael Madden on the inside line. That's going to stack up the field just a little bit behind him. Didn't really give anybody a run, because when he spun the tires, he kind of drifted up legally after the line. He drifted up enough to kind of stall out that momentum, and he's going to get the big draft now coming off of turn 2.
So Larch is going to do everything
one hard on the wall.
Oh, still green, but Landon Cardullo.
That's Lucas Lyons. Lyons is the one that went hard into the wall. He's going to be falling like a rock through the field right after he made his way up into the top 6.
And let's see if we can't get to the line here, and we will. Michael Larch takes a white flag. Michael Madden all over his bumper trying to get this win.
And Matt Greathouse sitting up in the 3rd position, trying to do all he can to maybe steal the regular season championship. We got one sideways down in turn 2. They're going to stay green. One hard in the wall as well, coming off of 2.
Everybody going for everything they're worth right now. Michael Madden going to try to
in the
dive
wall.
it.
Sorry, there's something going on everywhere, but they're side by side for the lead with Greathouse trying to make it 3 wide, coming off of 4.
And we're going to get to the line. Oh, my gosh. I don't want to call that. You call that.
Michael Larch by 7/1000ths of a second over Michael Madden, and only 500ths over Matt Greathouse in 3rd.
Unbelievable.
And oh, by the way, off of turn 2, the car that hit the wall, the truck that hit the wall, was the 29 of Sean Jensick. I believe, looking at the math, Matt Greathouse has made the jump from 4th to the regular season championship here at Michigan.
I think you may be correct. Kyle Spees was behind Jensick, and so was Brad Herman. I think you're right. I think you are absolutely correct. What an incredible race.
Talk about a Hail Mary here in Michigan. My goodness.
Well, let's take a look at that top 18. I know our admin, Jason Tripp, is going to try everything he can to get those scores posted as soon as possible so we can tell you who made it in and who didn't. But right now, Michael Larch takes the win. Michael Madden, 2nd place. Matthew Greathouse, 3rd. Nathan De La Rosa, 4th. Landon Cardullo in 5th.
And then a whole bunch of guys that had trouble early and found their way back up. Connor Cunningham going to finish in the 6th place. James Kerr, great finish tonight in 7th. Same for Jason Kratke in 8th. Bo Tiffany, another one of the drivers that needed a big play. That might be good enough in 9th. And Rob Yost Jr., what a comeback here tonight from a lap down in 32nd at one point to finish in 10th.
In 11th, Ben Park, Wally Babb in 12th for Threat Level Midnight, Jose Ruiz in 13th, Greg Olenek for Phoenix Virtual. See, I didn't jinx him. He finished in 14th, Raul Meza in 15th.
16th place will be Austin Purnell. 17th, Jose Castellanos, which is going to be just behind what he needed to clinch. But, man, he's going to be dancing around that cut line here as well. Lucas Lyons, another one that needed a big night here. Still going to find out later if he did enough in 18th. 19th will be Jeff No. 20th will be Trevor Williams.
We've had a request, and I think we're going to grant that request. Let's take a look at that finish line one more time.
Whew. This is one of like 9 things we've been trying to keep up with here at the end of this. But, yeah, Michael Larch on that outside. And I think he got a little help from Madden and Greathouse kind of racing each other, trying to find the right line. Larch just kind of held steady on that high line, and I don't think that he really got affected. You can see that little dancing here between Madden and Greathouse trying to sort themselves out, and just that little bit was enough to make the difference there for Larch to hang on by 7 1/1000ths of a second.
Look at that. Unreal. What a great finish.
I mean, how often do you see the top 4, not at Daytona or Talladega, finishing within 1/10 of a second of each other?
Absolutely amazing. All right, so like I said, Jason Tripp is going to get those scores as soon as he possibly can, and so hopefully before we get off the air, we'll be able to tell you those scores and everything. But for right now, let's see what we can do to get Matthew Greathouse in here, find out what he's thinking as we're trying to find out very, very quickly whether or not he did enough. Matthew Greathouse, welcome to the booth.
What's up, boys?
Man, incredible race. You knew exactly what you needed coming in here. You needed a swing for the fence, and you got one.
Honestly, man, I was just trying to survive. Contemplating pitting there, and I was like, nah, I don't want to go back there in that mess. And that last restart, I didn't get a very good restart, and was still able to, make my way up to third. Man, I'd like to have one more lap. I was moving there. I think I had a chance to win it, but the bottom would kind of stall out after 5 laps, and it was tough to pass, but I'll take a third. It was a good night.
It might be a great night, and we're still doing the numbers here, but one thing we were talking about is Sean Jensick wrecked on that last lap. Kyle Spees had trouble all night. Brad Herman had trouble all night. They finished near the back, and we're still crunching the numbers, but table math, unofficially, you might actually have jumped from 4th to that regular season championship. We're still working on that, but if that's the case, how's that feel? At least even being within a couple points of it at the end of this regular season.
Yeah, I mean, that's huge. I mean, honestly, I wasn't really even thinking about that goal. I didn't really think I had a shot because I know Sean's so good, and Speeds has been running good. Brad Herman, all those guys, obviously they're up front in the points for a reason. Is they're some of the more talented guys in this truck series, and at a track like this, I wasn't expecting this many yellows. I guess I was expecting some more green flag runs, and I figured those guys would be up front. So I didn't even worry about points. I just came out to try to win, and if it works out, if I win a championship regular season, that's cool. I'll take it. It's definitely a lot of momentum for me, especially early on in the season. Other than Daytona, I kind of had a few bad finishes and got stuck back there a little bit, and then kind of just slowly worked my way up. So I'll be happy with it.
Even if it doesn't turn out to be a regular season championship, going to be a big boost with the bonus points going into the playoffs there. But before we get there, give you a chance to give out any thank yous and kind of say any hellos to anybody out there before we let you go.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Just thank you to you guys. The broadcast, I'm sure that was fun. Finish there. I tried to make it 3 wide, give you guys something else to get excited about, and I come up just a little bit short. But I just want to shout out all the boys at PVR. Some of them got roughed up tonight, and I believe we still were able to take home a team victory in this race. So that's really good momentum for us going into the playoffs. And so just shout out to those guys. shout out to anybody who was watching, maybe be supporting me, and then also my main sponsor, shopaxis.com. You can go there to get some merchandise, some replica helmets. You can use code MAT10 to get 10% off. So those guys deserve the business, and yeah, ready for the playoffs, man. Let's rock and roll.
All right, we'll keep crunching the numbers, but we'll send you back down with the rest of the PVR guys, and hopefully talk to you again in Texas next week.
All right, thank you.
All right, we'll move him down into his room, and then let's.
I don't know how to do that part.
Yeah, well, that's okay. I got you, buddy. I got you. So let's get Michael Madden. And by the way, I am working on the points right now, so just keep on moving on that. But Michael Madden, welcome to the booth.
How's it going, fellas?
Man, after that finish, we got all kinds of life right now after keeping up with that cut line battle, the regular season championship, and oh, by the way, a nice little 3-wide finish there for the win of that race. How was that finish there for you?
Oh man, I wanted it. I was just sitting there setting it up and trying to make sure you had to get a run down the back. I mean, me and Larch going back and forth majority of that last run, and I just knew if you had the momentum, you can make a run. And I waited to that last turn, grabbed momentum down the back, and just tried to edge him out. I think if the 51 kind of stayed with me, it would have been a little reverse roll, but he ducked out, and I cut too much speed off on the corner exit. So it was a great race, though. Put ourselves in position. That's what was key.
Well, and another thing, and we're crunching the numbers on so many different things right now for the points, but you needed a 23rd place finish to clinch. Obviously, that happened for you, so you're going to be safe for the playoffs. And doing so, and looking at my notes, actually have the most top 10s this season, so a whole lot of momentum going for you at this point. So how's it feel getting ready to go to the playoffs and starting that thing off in Texas next week?
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to win here. I told everybody all week, let's just focus. I mean, it's one of these races where you really can't predict. A lot of things happen. It's putting yourself in position. A lot of things are out of your control, especially when you're in the pack in the draft. But it's about minding your P's and Q's. But yeah, I'm making a lot of positive momentum going forward, and that's really what kind of shaped my playoff and championship run last season. So looking to do the same, big picture thinking. You can't win the championship in the first round. You just need to get out round by round and put yourself there at Vegas. You can't win the championship if you're not there, and I learned that in season 2. So looking to use all my experience that I have in SRN and put it forward to another great championship run here, hopefully.
Well, definitely going to be one of the big names in a field full of really tough challengers there in that playoff run. But before we get there, give you a chance to give out any thank yous or say any hellos there to anybody out there.
Yeah, absolutely. I always want to thank the Rat Pack boys. We practiced all week. I didn't really get to see the big playoff picture, but we were all pulling for Yost there. He had a strong start. I'm not sure really what shook out. But, always want to thank Kosier and Sparkle and Shine, all those guys supported me. And just everybody in the MM15 crew. My mom tuning in every week, Dad and Grandma, my fiance, everybody. Thank you for the consistent support, and we'll try to get another playoff run here into another championship, hopefully.
Well, sounds good, and hopefully we'll be hearing from you again next week when we get to Texas. But congratulations on the great regular season, and good luck in the playoffs.
Thanks, man. I hope so.
All right, we'll move him back down into his chat here, and then let's see if we can't get our winner up into the broadcast booth. Let me find old Michael Larch here. There he is, down there just chatting it up with his team. But we'll bring him up into the booth. Michael Larch, welcome to the booth, my friend.
Thanks, guys.
Man, great race out there.
Thank you. It was a nail biter for sure.
So tell me about all the switching back and forth between you and Michael Madden. I mean, you guys had some strong laps there where y'all were just switching off that lead.
Yeah, that was fun to say. I know he's a clean driver, so I knew, if we can just get out there, we can have some fun with it, put on a good show. Because that draft, these trucks they're like snowplows out front. So whoever's behind you, you get a big run, and then just dive into the inside going into the turn, and you come out on top, and we were switching back and forth there for a handful of laps. Would have been fun to see how it played out without those cautions at the end, but good run either way.
I mean, a great run for sure. And you were one of the 3 drivers that came in that weren't clinched, but pretty much were. You really just had to start this race. And how did that feel going into this, where you kind of had a little bit less pressure there? And obviously getting that win, a ton of momentum going into the playoffs there. But it just feels like kind of that weird spot to be in a race like this, where didn't need a lot, but still had to avoid trouble. And it seemed like trouble was everywhere out there.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I knew, like you said there, coming into the race, I wasn't locked in, but I was pretty close. I just needed to have a decent run, top 25 or something like that. But early on there, a couple cars in front of me got into the wall or into one another, and a couple big checkups. So I was back there in like 18th, 20th for a while, and then worked my way up front. But even being almost locked into the playoff race, we still got these team battles going on, and I don't want to sit back there and just ride around. So I want to get up front, do good for our team, be there for the teammates, and put on a good show.
Man, you definitely put on a good show for sure. I mean, what do you have going into the playoffs now? I mean, I'm sure you've looked at the schedule and everything. What are you looking forward to, I guess?
Yeah, good momentum, that's for sure. This being my first SRN league race win, so that's exciting. But yeah, the tracks we got coming up, Texas, I feel pretty confident there. Mid-Ohio, you never know what's going to happen there. Kentucky, Iowa, Auto Club, feel great at. Gateway, sorry. That's a crapshoot, as we saw in the Xfinity series earlier this year. And then the last one, Las Vegas. So, just take it round by round, move on to each round, and hopefully be there at the end to fight for the championship.
All right, man. Well, who do you have to thank here tonight before we let you get back to celebrating this win?
Yeah, I guess all my teammates at JW Racing, Justin Rideout, the owner, putting up with us week in and week out. Natural Bite Prep and my buddy Matt Robb for letting me run that. Saloon Door Sports, Rogue Energy, you guys up there in the booth. You guys do a great job week in and week out. All the admins, amazing job. They put up with a bunch of stuff. We put them through the ringer week in and week out. They do a great job. Trip, Sean, everyone who puts this together, awesome time. And TJ's team for sponsoring the truck series here. And I want to thank our number 1 fan out there watching tonight, Betsy.
All right, man. Well, congratulations on a big, big win, heading into the playoffs with some serious momentum. So we will see you next week as we get to Texas.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
All right, we will move him down to that room. All right, so these are unofficial results. I'll give you that. Unofficial as far as the points are concerned, but unofficially, Matthew Greathouse will take the championship from 4th position. Sean Jensick in 2nd, Kyle Spees 3rd, Brad Herman in 4th, Michael Larch barely edged out for that 4th spot by Brad Herman. But looking down at the cut line, Rob Yost Jr. stays in, Lucas Lyons gets in, Lane Doyle gets in, but then that drops out Jeffrey Vickery and a few others as well. So big damage on that cut line.
Man, that's just a rough run there for some of those guys. A lot of guys tonight that were dancing around that cut line, and that difference, just 1 point there between Lane Doyle and Bo Tiffany, and I can tell you for sure that it's not a good feeling to be a 1 point. I've had that happen a couple times, so that's, you got to keep thinking you got that second chance. For everybody that's there in that red section right there, plus a lot of others, got one more shot at this thing at Texas to get that playoff lucky dog.
Man, it is going to be a fun race at Texas, but let's talk about our very next broadcast. The Great Lakes 160 right back here in Michigan. We're doing this all over again in the Xfinity Series. Some more cut line drama, some more team drama, some more drama for the championship. Everything's dramatic here in Speed Racing Network.
I mean, what would it be if we didn't have that, especially at the regular season finale? We think that this is a close cut line battle. There's another one coming tomorrow, still wide open on the regular season championship as well. So everything you just experienced today, get to experience it all over tomorrow with just only 5 more laps out there at the same racetrack.
Yeah, do not miss it. Get back here to Michigan and watch it all here on Speed Racing Network. But for everybody here at Speed Racing Network, for myself, for Brandon Domain, for Jason Tripp, the president, and everybody else here always remember to go faster.